We are back with another installment of the Manson Brothers Show. I'm your host, Stone Manson, here with my bro, Carlos. What's happening, Carlos?
Lots of stuff, man. Thanks,
You got
man.
the top hat going?
Yeah, that's my
That little Lemmy thing working there.
yeah, that's like my my black tie and tails. I wear that to special events, you know, like bowling banquets.
I wear this to special events.
Bat
Hey,
mitzvahs.
this week we're gonna kind of kick one into the. I guess I'll call it newer, even though it's still old.
Yeah, it's 20 some years old.
We're gonna cover. I like to call it Quentin Tarantino. It's actually Robert Rodriguez, but it is the one and only From Dusk Till Dawn. We'll be right back. And we're back, and this week we are talking about none other than
Dusk Till Dawn.
1996 is From Dusk Till Dawn, the movie that put George Clooney on the map,
as it were,
as a movie star. I mean, he was a big deal already.
TV.
ER.
Yep.
But this was kind of the first feature, and it was really interesting because it was such a departure from his ER character.
Yeah, I think it was an attempt to also sort of desissify him. You know, they put him in, like, make him kind of tough.
I don't know if anybody thought he was a sissy before that, but
I did. Whatever.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, this one holds up with Snake Plissken as one of my favorite badass characters of all time.
He's pretty badass.
And if anybody has anything bad to say about George Clooney's acting, he is a bad MFer in this movie.
He stares at the floor.
Now you're talking shit about his acting, so that's not. Don't say anything about.
Hey man, I wish I had.
Or staring at the floor.
Man, I wish I had a scribe.
You got to say, no matter how you feel about him, he is badass in this movie.
No, he's a great actor.
I love Seth Gecko. Well, so anyway, you know, this movie is really interesting, especially from a horror perspective, because it is. And you're going to have to remind me a little bit later of a film that's kind of like this.
Yeah, one's coming to mind.
You get this, you know, it's really a scene study for about the first hour on the relationship between these two brothers. One of whom is a dashing, charismatic, super cool guy. The other is just basically a bumbling moron, and likes to. Well, unfortunately, he's kind of got some, you know, issues with the ladies as well.
Well, you know, I think
for whatever reason, that whole concept is just ringing a bell with me, and I can't.
Yeah, let me see. What other movie starts out like that? Almost like it's two different movies.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Like you get
the Manson Brothers Midnight Zombie.
That's right. Yeah, you get to learn
pick it up today on
Great Brothers.
DVD. Yeah, the Blood Brothers and their.
And then you watch them save the world, just like the Geckos.
Well, what I thought was cool was watching this when it started out. Was these guys? They're bad guys.
Oh, they're bad.
They have no redeeming quality, but through the great writing of Tarantino and the great direction of Robert Rodriguez, you can't help but like them.
Yeah, I believe actually this script was originally written by Robert Kurtzman, and then I think it was the first thing that Tarantino ever adapted. I'm pretty sure. I may be wrong about that.
I think you're right. I think Robert Kurtzman did have something to do with it. He didn't write the original.
And I believe he did the effects.
For sure he did the effects.
Well, Tom Savini, who's in the film, as Sex Machine, he did most of the effects.
Oh, this thing's got a great cast. It's got Tom Savini, it's got Harvey Keitel, it's got Juliette Lewis, it's got Fred Williamson,
the Hammer.
It's got the Hammer. It's got Quentin Tarantino himself.
Yep.
And Clooney, aforementioned Clooney. It's got Cheech Marin. It's got Danny Trejo.
Cheech Marin in three different characters.
Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo, isn't it? Yeah. I mean,
Cheech Marin plays three different
Selma Hayek.
Selma. Oh.
Hey, Steven out there, we remember that it's Selma and not Selma.
Yeah, Selma is my girl. She's awesome.
She's in it in a very memorable role.
I think so. Yeah, she's like a vampire, like goddess.
She's not like a vampire.
She is like a goddess type.
She's 100%, and I mean 100% vampire.
But let's get back to the.
You know who else is in it? The drummer from Oingo Boingo.
Oh, Danny Elfman?
No, he's a singer from Oingo Boingo. Can't think of his name. He's in the band that winds up playing Body Parts.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh no, shit! I didn't know that.
Yep.
Well, so getting back to the Gecko brothers. So before we even get into the vampire stuff, it's a whole different. It's like a crime story, right? Yeah. And it's following the Gecko brothers, kind of on their, I don't know, it was a crime spree they're doing, but they're going across country, and then they run into Harvey Keitel and his family. Harvey Keitel's like a preacher, right? And Juliette Lewis is his young impressionable daughter. She's very young at the time. but it's cool. The way they tell the story is great because before anything ever starts, the writing is so good, it gets you attached to the characters.
Yeah.
Like you know the characters inside and out. And the one thing I love about watching movies like this is because you care about the characters, you care about what happens to them. They're not just cardboard cutouts or red shirts on Star Trek where it's like, well.
Well, I think one of the things they did a great job with was developing the fact that while Clooney is a ruthless vato, his character also kind of has principles.
Yeah, he's got some kind of a compass.
I don't kill somebody I don't have to.
Right.
I don't do these kind of things. And you can tell as they go along and they're trying to get to Mexico, you know, he basically says, look, if you get us across the border, I'm going to let you go. You know, this is the way it goes. And so you kind of see that slow, you know, arc from, and the most amazing thing about the movie is that they take these two guys and they turn them from the baddest, you know, most lawless guys. They tell you how many people they killed trying to get away into the heroes of the movie.
At least the Clooney character. I don't know if it gets that far with the Tarantino character, but with the Clooney character,
because when you see them get to the bar, he kind of starts telling the kid, "Hey, if you want a table dance, let me know."
Yeah,
they stick up for everybody when all the shit goes
Right,
down.
very true.
Early.
Yeah,
you know?
that's very true. So then we come to the which is really cool to me. It's like a titty bar out in the middle of nowhere, right? It's out in the middle of the desert.
It's called the Titty Twister.
Right. Yeah. It's out in the middle of nowhere, and Cheech Marin's out there hawking the girls, right? It's great. But then, of course, they lure all these people in there, and when the sun goes down, it turns into a feeding frenzy for the vampires who run the thing, which I thought was brilliant.
Bikers and truckers only.
To me, this reminded me of an early 70s style film that this would happen, you know? So it was really cool.
It's interesting when I first saw the movie, like I remember the two things I thought were, dude, this guy's going to be a movie star for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember how much I loved the fact that they had the turn of the guys.
Yeah.
We'll get into that term a little bit later.
Yeah.
But the biggest criticism I heard from people was, well, yeah, it was like this kind of this cool movie cooking along, and then all of a sudden there were vampires, and I didn't know what was going on. I was like,
or reverse.
What's wrong?
Like the vampires were cool, but I had to wait all that time to get up to the vampire part. Listen,
that's the whole point.
That's why it's cool, because the part that doesn't have the monster in it is still really interesting. Right. There's a lot going on there.
I think one of the great things was that Tarantino wrote it against the standard format of a screenplay that you do. He took the time, the first half to develop it, and the second half all hell broke loose.
Well, and the genius of it is it's not like, so when you watch a movie like this, usually if it's a movie from the 70s or the 80s even, the stuff that happens when the monster's not on scene or the slasher or whatever, it's kind of boring. Like, you don't care. It's just a lot of filler.
Not this movie.
But this isn't filler. This is like good character development stuff, and it's really a character study to begin with, which is really cool, man. It just gets you in there. Like, even if the vampires never showed up, you could watch a whole movie about the gecko.
Yeah, and it's not a character study on the geckos. It's a character study on Harvey Keitel's character. It's a character study on the daughter.
They all have an arc. So Keitel has an arc.
Harvey Keitel's is actually probably the most interesting of the whole movie.
Yeah, because he's a preacher and
who's lost his faith, basically, and they need him to have his faith to remotely try and survive.
Right. It's just a cool movie. It went over. I think it did well when it came out, right? I certainly wasn't a bomb.
It did or it didn't. The one thing I do know is that wherever it landed when it came out, it's a million times more revered now.
Yeah.
In hindsight, much like almost every horror. Give us 20 years when we're in a nursing home and everything will be rolling.
Jesus, I hope we make it that far. But anyway,
I mean, think about it. The Thing. Any of those movies that came out were duds when they came out, and they're looked at like,
Zombie or any of those ones. Yeah. So, but I like the one thing I didn't like about this movie. So I liked almost everything about it. The one thing I didn't like was I like Clooney in lots of stuff, but this one it had nothing to do with the acting. I like vampires that look like human beings, and they're still into this whole thing at that time. I think this started in the late 80s with making them look inhuman. And
hold on. That actually, I agree with you. Okay, so in theory, I agree with exactly what you're saying. What I thought was interesting about what they did was they had 100 different types of vampires. They had some that were more turned, less turned. If when they first start shutting the doors, all the strippers are vampires, and they look like
humans. Yeah,
strippers.
Right.
You know, now there's a few that look. If you recall the standoff scene, where the four of them are coming this way and the four dancers are coming this way.
Yeah, that's true.
One of them still looks like a stripper. One of them's hideously disfigured. You know.
Right. No, that is true. But the ones with the prosthetics, it's I don't. To me, that takes away from it. Doesn't add to it. But it was great to see also Tom Savini in an acting role.
Oh my god,
because he's so good. He just got as a great. Why nobody ever capitalized on the guy as an actor with that look?
He's great.
I mean, really, he's got such a.
He's great in this movie.
I remember.
And Fred Williamson is great.
Oh, Fred Williamson's great and everything.
So good.
Fred, if you're out there, we love you. We do. I love Fred Williamson, man. I love him since we were kids, and Pa took us to see Hammer.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? Interestingly, let's talk about the very beginning of the movie, because you get two really outstanding performances right out of the gate from John Hawkes.
Yeah.
And I cannot remember the
name. John Hawkes, man. I forgot he's in there too.
That's one of the great performances of all time.
John Hawkes is awesome.
What he tells Clooney, hey, based on what I think was going on, I should deserve an Academy fucking award. You know, and is Michael Parks? Is that who it is who plays?
Michael Parks.
Michael Texas Ranger.
That's dragging his lines out.
Jesus Christ, Pete! You trying to make you bucking for early retirement? So all these guys, I mean, in that opening scene is just bad.
Yeah, it is.
When they, you know, it's like I told you to keep a low profile, and behind there's a older burning liquor store.
It's really good.
And the lines from, I mean, just the writing and the lines. And
it's got that great snappy Tarantino dialogue.
And the way they shoot it when they have him do it, the looks and the angles on it are so cool. It's like, listen, if I can play any character in any movie, two, without a doubt.
What?
Snake Plissken, Seth Gecko. Those would be the two characters I'd want to play.
I don't know.
How about you? What would you want to play?
Well,
Quasimodo and no
Shrek. No.
Yes,
I would play Bob Tessier, the Bob Tessier character.
You pick something that
Hey, wait, this is my pick. I get to pick. It's my pick. Whatever. I would be Bob Tessier in the 1974 version of The Longest Yard. He was Bob Tessier was Connie Shocker, the karate guy. Even the cops are horrified of him.
That would actually be an excellent
right. I'd do that one.
That'd be 100%.
And then I would want to play. If I had to pick one more, boy, I'd be tough.
I'm sorry.
Probably. Yeah. I'm sorry. It'd be a good role for me, right?
That'd be great. That'd be a great role.
Great at it.
100%. Yeah. No doubt.
I would probably want to play the Clint Eastwood character in Unforgiven.
Well, that'd be a cool one.
Yeah.
The I don't know aging. If you quite the same.
Well, there's like the aging badass gunfighter. You know, I
like Shrek. Shrek is actually right up there for me. I think that was a great
Quasimodo, Shrek, the Blob.
Can you do a Scottish accent?
You know, no.
Is Shrek Scottish?
No,
I don't know. I never saw it. I'm just thinking in my head.
Although I am technically a Scottish lord because I do own property in Scotland.
Lord Littlebrook?
Yeah, I own a square foot of property in Scotland, and that makes me a Scottish lord. You too can do it. It's awesome.
Go get your haggis and enjoy.
Yeah, haggis.
Who's got worse cuisine, the Scots or the British? No offense to all my Scottish and British fans.
I'm gonna say the Brits. I bet the Scots actually put salt on their food.
I believe that the national dish of Great Britain is chicken tikka masala, if that gives you any indication of what
I like chicken tikka masala.
I do too. Yeah, Indian food's great.
Yeah, I like it.
We call it Indian food now? Is that what it is?
I don't know.
It's good.
Subcontinental food. I don't know what you would call it. But it's good in either way. Yeah, I think you can call it Indian food. I don't think we're not politically correct.
If you're looking to get your carbs in, dude, holy cow. That stuff is good. But back to From Dusk Till Dawn.
You can consult your local Indian restaurant.
Now
for more dishes.
Also gets an honorable mention. We covered this in another episode of some of the greatest weaponry of all time.
Yes.
And
I think got some weird shit in there. Yeah.
Well, like I can't give it to Clooney's little weed whacker thing that's got the stake on it because I did not like that. But when Juliette Lewis finds the
crossbow thing, and
they've got the water gun.
Yeah, that with holy water in it.
Dude,
good idea, guys. I'm shocked nobody had come up with that up until that point. Or if they had, we haven't seen it.
And then Harvey Keitel takes the baseball bat and the shotgun.
Yeah.
And he's got a cross. And he cocks it. Bam!
Yeah, they came, and actually, to be honest with you, I'm not into these vampire movies that they come up with, you know, unique and weird weapons to kill them, but this was one of the first ones that did that. Yeah. So it was cool. I like that. And I like the way, I just like the way everything sort of kept piling on. You know what I mean? Like it never. It was one of those movies like Demons, where once it starts, it doesn't let up.
It's 100 miles an hour.
It's 100 miles an hour. Who would you say? So let's leave the George Clooney character out of it. Which character do you think was the most interesting?
Well, I think I'd have to say Harvey Keitel, only because I think he got the bigger arc. The Richie Gecko character is very interesting.
I have to tell you, I think that's my most interesting character because, I mean, he's not a likable character. No. He's a really bad guy, but they subtly reveal to you, you know, that he's a pervert, that he's, you know, there's
But I actually think, and I don't think Quentin Tarantino is a good actor at all. Never has been.
No, but he's okay. But I think by his own admission,
I think this is the best thing he's ever done.
Oh,
because the interaction between him and George
is really natural.
It's fantastic, and he does a great job of playing kind of the bumbling, you know.
Yeah, you get the feeling that George Clooney really, that he's a liability for George Clooney,
but that he loves him, and he's his brother. He can't.
Yeah, kind of reminds you of a couple other brothers.
Liabilities. Anyway, let's get to a viewer email. This is our favorite time of day. Keep thinking about those liability things, folks.
All right.
Here's our viewer email. This one comes to us from Glenn D. in, where the hell is Glenn D? Dallas, Texas.
Oh, love Dallas, Texas.
Deep in the heart of Texas. How about them Cowboys? Glenn writes, hey guys.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
This movie is well known for its quotable lines. What are your favorite lines from the movie From Dusk Till Dawn?
Well, I'm going to paraphrase it because we're going to try and keep it relative. I like when Cheech Marin is at the beginning, when he's standing out in front of the strip joint, hawking the girls, talking about the different kinds of women they have in there. Yes, that's my favorite part because it's well written and it's funny.
That is a pretty good line. I'm gonna say it comes at the very end, although I could name a million different quotable lines.
There's a lot of them.
I have to do two, which is terrible. I love the part when George Clooney is facing off with Salma Hayek's character.
Yeah.
And she is basically telling him everything she's going to do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to drain you like your brother.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you my slave. And he's like, oh, yeah? Really? Okay. You know, that kind of thing. She bats him down, stands over the top of him and says, welcome to slavery. And he says, no, thanks. I was already married.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Nails her. But best line of the whole movie, without a doubt, is at the very end when he finally gets outside. Cheech Marin and his guys have come.
Yeah.
They've gotten out. And he says, basically, just pick this place. Well, since you picked this place out of a hat, my brother's dead. That girl's entire family is dead. And Cheech says, what were they, psychos or something? And he's like, did they look like fucking psychos? Psychos don't explode when they touch sunlight. I don't give a damn how crazy they are. And that is, without a doubt, the best line of the whole
That's
movie.
A great line. I like that line, too. That's really good. I think, and Robert Rodriguez as a director is such a solid director. You know, he really knows how to tell a story. And,
he is great.
Man, Robert, if you're out there and you want to direct a couple other brothers.
So I'm going to say this, and we'll cover these couple films later. But you know, when Tarantino and Rodriguez got together to do the Grindhouse, thing, I mean, let's face it, Planet Terror was
way better,
a trillion times better.
Death Proof is the only Tarantino film I don't really.
And didn't have Kurt Russell, and didn't have even the star power that, because I mean, he had Bruce Willis in there, whatever.
Yeah, he had Rose McGowan and Bruce Willis.
Yeah, but he made a great movie
who was big at the time.
Yeah, with him and with the guy he always uses from oh my God, what the hell's his name? Jeff Fahey.
Yeah, I love Jeff Fahey, man. Jeff Fahey's great. Jeff Fahey is one of those actors that's overlooked.
Yeah, I think that's one of the great things about Tarantino and Rodriguez both is they consistently use the same people. They're always good in what they do,
and they use got people that have been in like cult films.
Yeah,
not that Jeff Fahey was in a lot of cult films, but he was in a lot of stuff. I mean, he was in Tombstone, and he was.
He's really versatile though. So, he can play the
Lawnmower Man.
I think he plays the governor in Machete.
And Machete.
So it's like
Machete is a great movie. I like that.
He's a plumber.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. But another thing about the film, you get the idea that they were going to work together again. Like this was sort of the setup.
Absolutely.
Like it's like, well, I like your shit. Yeah, I like your stuff. Okay, let's work together. And so they did this, but directing together and stuff, I don't know how they did it for Grindhouse. I don't know if one produced and one directed.
I'm not sure. I mean, they always intended it being on two movies, but obviously running together the whole time.
Yeah, so. They make a good team though. Their approaches are very similar.
Let's talk a little bit about a little more about the turn that occurs with the characters. Have we done turn already?
No, that'd be our
wrestling term of the week. It is
the turn.
And the turn, describe the turn, my dear brother.
So a turn, usually the bigger turns are from heel to babyface, from villain to good guy, right? Those are but there are turns equally as powerful from good guy to bad guy. They're a little harder to pull off, in my opinion. So turns from bad guy to good guy are a little easier to pull off, because what happens with a turn, it's just what it says. It turns. They turn from a good guy to a bad guy, or from a bad guy to a good guy. And I'll give you two examples.
We discussed this previously on a previous episode with Roddy Piper.
Right. So when he turned babyface, there was a big lead up to that where he was a commentator. Mm-hmm. And so there were some scenes where he was interviewing Hogan, who at the time was his biggest nemesis, and Hogan was the biggest baby in the business at the time. And so you could see this sort of progression of Piper not being atypically Piper, not healing. And then he had this big turn and people went nuts, and he became like the biggest baby in the business, I would think, outside of Hogan.
And as it relates to this film, I think, we talked about this before, is that the bigger heel you are, the bigger baby you're going to be.
And so, and conversely, the biggest baby turn to heel was Hulk Hogan in WCW turning heel. And when he turned heel, that may have been the greatest turn in wrestling, period, because I remember watching that and thinking, there's no way they're going to turn him heel. There's no way. And when they did it, I thought somebody was going to shoot him. That's how powerful the turn was. And people
showered the ring with all kinds of shit.
Yeah, it went. Again, I mean, you could say what you want about Hogan, but it was a brilliant move.
Take it a step further. There's been some turns that have happened mid-match. Most famously was Owen and Bret Hart. In the middle.
Absolutely.
Where they literally switched places. Mid-match, because they felt the crowd going one direction or the other. And I think that's essentially what happens in this movie, and is a great example that you said, like the Hogan thing, which is they set these guys up to be so horrible.
Right.
And so deplorable and so everything. That by the time they are forced to become the heroes of the movie, now you're rooting for them because they were so awful. And now that they're on the good side, it's like,
I think a lot of this, if you go back to the movies of the golden age of Hollywood, like the
2020s, is that what you're talking about?
No, like the 40s, the 50s.
2021?
The golden age of Hollywood, 2021. Yeah. I don't think they've made a good movie since 1980.
2021.
Whatever. Except that one.
Oh, yeah.
But when they had an anti-hero, like, say, Humphrey Bogart in The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, or better yet, in Casablanca, he wasn't really a good guy, right? He was a shit heel, right?
Well, again, I think
but you made him, you have to like him a little bit, right? Yeah. You got to like him a little bit. And then they become the heroes.
I still say the best heroes are the anti-heroes.
Right. And with the Gecko brothers, they are really horrible guys. At the beginning, you're like, man, these guys are shitbags. But 20 minutes later, you're like invested in them. You're like, man, it would be great if these guys were like save the day.
Sure. Yep.
Or at least the one.
1 million. Speaking of brothers who are shitbags, tell them how we pay the bills, bro.
We pay the bills on MansonBrothers.com, where you could go and pick up a Blu-ray or a DVD of the Manson Brothers Midnight Zombie Massacre, starring myself and my brother and Randy Couture, D.B. Sweeney, Adrian Pasdar, and directed by Max Martini. You can also
get it about two kick-ass brothers.
That's right. You can also get it on Amazon.com, video, iTunes, Vudu, and video on demand everywhere. You can also get one of these shirts. What has a cool saying on the back. We got a couple different ones. You get a ducky hat. You can get a race car this is in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, right?
That's right.
We got a bunch of pictures on there. We'll sign them all for you, even if you don't want us to, because we're pushy. And that's it.
Anything to add? Anything about From Dusk Till Dawn other than
one of those seen it in a while? If you haven't seen Dusk Till Dawn in a while, watch it again. It's worth your time, and I bet you'll pick out. There's so much to like about this movie. Every time I see it, I discover something different.
Absolutely, watch it a few times.
So and write us and let us know if we missed something that was really cool, because I'm sure we did.
That's right.
Let us know, because we'll talk about
it. Keep those emails coming.
We'll respond to you because we like talking to people.
Keep those emails coming. We love you guys. Tune in next week. We'll have another great show for you. And
see you later, shitty pants.
Cheers.